Welcome to another podcast of the current situation at Manchester United. I am going to be expressing a few housekeeping notes in regarding to Manchester United. I'll be doing one more video podcast for you guys at the end of the week, come on Friday, which is going to be the preview match of Manchester United versus Newcastle. I believe that game is at Old Trafford. Give me a second, let me double check. But in the meantime, given that it's September now, I told you guys some time ago that I'm actually a virtual student, so I am not going to be doing as much videos. Yeah, it's going to be at Old Trafford. Yeah, we played 2 games away from home against the Saints, which we crushed the Saints. And then we went to the Wolves. We monopolized their stadium. So we played 2 games that were away. Now we're going to go back at home and get some rest and be at our base, hopefully. But yeah, I just want to say that I'm a student virtually, meaning that this is my last year. So I'm going to graduate sometime next year. And I'm going to be, school actually started today for me. So I'm going to be, have a class in the next 2 hours. No, actually less than 2 hours, about probably an hour and 45 minutes, if my timing is correct. But yeah, I'm going to be quite occupied in terms of time, so I'm not going to be pushing out as much videos as I would like. But our brother is up for the sacrifice either way, so I'm going to do that for you guys, even though I'm not getting as much views I would like, but still I'm putting in the work and I'm just putting up the videos out there. So, and those who salute, salute to you as well. Is me. So I'm not getting paid for these video podcasts. I'm doing this just out of pure lust and passion and infatuation. That's my love that I have for Manchester United. Although they piss me off most times, but our brother still loves Manchester United. So yeah. But I'll be doing covering a few late Manchester United housekeeping notes in terms of news. Everybody knows that CR7 is back home. The prodigal son is back home. The first piece of news, it says here that Man United's legend Wayne Rooney has not spoken to CR7 and won't watch his second debut match. I thought that was a ghost. Man, that's scary. I don't think any player or any ex-player or any fan is obligated to watch any player's match. I really don't. There is not a constitutional law that states that a player has to watch a match, whether it's the first debut, his second season at a club, or even when he left and he came back, he's going to play second debut. I don't think there's nobody that's obligated to watch a match. So I think this is just coming out of pure. Me people who have nothing to write, bro. Because it says here that Rooney say, he hasn't spoken to CR7 since his return. And because he's not going to watch the second debut, or what's known as the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Cristiano Ronaldo, the Christ himself. He says he's going to watch his son's match. So family comes first for Rooney, as it should, me. Everything comes before. Everything comes after family, because once your family member is gone, it's not like you're going to have that memory again with them. Me. So you have to make most of what is been given to you, which is time. But Rooney is basically saying that he has to watch his sons play football matches. So that's going to be quite an interesting encounter. As relates to Newcastle now, if they are a fan of memory lane, they would remember that CR7 got his first ever, not only his first hat-trick for Man United, but his first and only hat-trick for Man United, but also his first Premier League hat-trick, which is his only Premier League hat-trick at Manchester United. Hopefully that's going to change given the 2 seasons he's going to be here. But yeah, he basically got he got his first hat-trick against Newcastle, so he has history with Newcastle somewhat. And given that given that he's going to start, I know he's going to start. Come on, when this week or next week. It's on the 11th, right? On the 11th, man. Hold up a second. What's the significant date of September 11th? Oh, 9/11. So that's going to be quite a Taliban experience for Newcastle come on Sunday. If Sunday is the 11th, but it's on a Sunday now. It's not on a Sunday. And maybe it's on a Sunday, but I don't know if it's on a Sunday. But it's on the 11th of September. And if you remember what happened on the September 9 of 2000 and whether it was 2001 or something. Yeah, some things got down on the 11th of September, and it wasn't as cute as you think. But yeah, Man United is going to play against Newcastle at home, but I'm not going to do the preview now. I'll do that in a couple of days time. But CR7, I saw a few. Wonder if the ghost is still here. Could be the boogeyman. Yeah. So given that he's back at Man United, I'm still coming to the acceptance that he's a Man United player. This is a long saga, man. I mean, hey, I don't like what you're doing that, man. Relax. But yeah, I was basically saying that I'm trying to accept that he's a Man United player now. CR7 is back to the fold. He's made a name for himself. He left as a man. He came as a boy. He left as a man. He matured. He was nurtured. He developed himself as a top player. He went and he conquered. And he's back. And given that he knows that he's not the same player as he was a couple of years ago, or even more so, like 5 years ago, these are the closing chapters of Cristiano Ronaldo's book as relates to football. And we have to take care of him. He has signed a 2-year deal. And I saw a few of his training pictures. Him and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just shooting it verbally. I guess they were having a briefing moment before they start training. So yeah, Ole is trying to catch him up to speed, you see me, because when you have the number 7 Batman, you have to get back on track, So yes, it's good to see CR7 at home. Very unexpected, but these are, spontaneous moments that catch you off guard is the best moments, isn't it? So having a moment like this and a time like this, man, is very. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to his second debut, man. Again, his what's known as his second coming. The second coming, or as some people call it, the second debut of our Lord and Savior, Cristiano Ronaldo. For you guys that are CR7 fanboys, and also me guys are just rubbing your hands like this and say, man, I can't just wait for CR7 to get his second debut. This is what I've been waiting for. The Savior has summoned. He's come on earth to bless us, our mortal beings, with his presence. Coming back to Old Trafford to play a game for Manchester United on his second debut. Again, he's coming. His second coming. He came in 2003, and after 18 years, he's come back again. Yeah, he's come back again, and just make sure that you know that he's not the same player. So he's going to we have to do a lot to actually support him in the box. In relation to another number 7, when he was at Napoli, he was a number 7. I think he wore number 7 for Uruguay in his earlier years before he went back to 21. But Cavani, it says here that Edison Cavani is angry and frustrated because he didn't get the chance to go back to South America to play for Uruguay in terms of the World Cup qualifiers. As you guys know, in this period right now, it's World Cup qualifiers. Sides are trying to book their ticket in terms of the World Cup itself, because the World Cup is next year in the fall, which is very unusual, considering that usually in the summer, not every summer now, but every 4 years in the summer, it's the World Cup, is missed. But football is changing, isn't it? So in the fall, I think in December, I believe, or in late November, the World Cup is going to take off. But given that sides are still playing games right now internationally, sides are trying to qualify for the World Cup. Because again, bro, some of you people might not look deep into the World Cup, but playing for your own country, particularly the country that you were born in, that you were raised in, that you were conceived in, is an honor. You see me? So you might see some persons crying when the national anthem is playing, and you say, why is this dude? Why is this dude crying? Why is this dude crying? Why is he crying? You're just representing your country. Your country has no history in football. Your country is ranked about 90th, not 9th, no, 90th in the FIFA World Cup ranking. I think Belgium is on first, then France second, or Portugal third, or something like that. But your side is ranked 90. You play for a country that lost 9-0 in the last game, and you're crying when the national anthem is playing. Yes, dude, when you're representing your country, bro, that's going to take emotions out of you, bro. You're representing your country. This is a country that you grew up in. So it doesn't matter how good your side is, or how good your teammates are, or how corrupt or shady or manipulative or whatever the case is of the football agency is with Sepp Blatter and all that. Representing your country is a big ask. Not everybody is going to be given the honor to actually support the country. Is me? So I can sense Cavani's first. Again, I haven't seen Cavani in the flesh. I've seen him on screens. I've seen him on YouTube. I think that's justifying enough, right? But I can understand his frustration because, bro, I don't care if your country is bad or bad in a good sense, like, yo, that side the bad no man, that side the bad is not, beat that side 5-0 no man. Yeah, but bad man, but still, bro, it doesn't matter how good or bad your side is. If you're representing a country or you're representing you have mainlands or something like that, or a continent or whatever. I don't think they play in continents, but the point is that if you're trying to represent your country or representing your country, that's a big ask, man, because not everybody's going to be given that task, man. So persons crying, man, you have to say, I mean, because I've seen a few persons like lost it in the when the national anthem is playing, like they just lost it, man. You would think they got a briefing from one of their family members in the stadium telling that their mother died, and they're just losing it when the national anthem is played. But yeah, man, persons are just different, I guess. Some persons, they sing their hearts out. But bringing this back to Cavani, yeah, he's frustrated that he's not going to represent, because I'm not sure of what's getting down, but it's, I guess, because of the COVID constrictions. Certain players from different countries are not given the green light to represent their country for the World Cup qualifiers. They're not going to be given, because see, it's not like it would be a different situation if that player played in that same location. For example, if Cavani played in Uruguay at a club level, and it's international level right now, and he's going to represent his country on an international level, my man will be given the green light to represent his country all day, twice on Sunday, right? But since he plays outside of the Caribbean, and even more so in a different area of the globe, that's Europe right now, he's not going to be given that green light to represent his own country. Because again, bro, COVID is killing people, bro. I know some persons don't believe in these. They see it as conspiracy theories, but COVID is killing people, man, like flies and locusts, like flies and locusts, like in Egypt or so. So, given all of that, the clubs are trying to restrict their own players. Like Salah can't play for Egypt. Liverpool has restricted him and said, yo, you're over my side. You're not going to represent your own country. I don't care who is going to get pissed off at that. But you're not going to represent your own country, man. You're going to stay in our fold. You're going to stay right here. So we don't want you to contract COVID. You're one of our top players, one of our best you're our best goal scorer. So we don't want to risk you in getting COVID, man. So they don't want to go down that route. of sending their own players from a club level to their own countries to represent them on an international level. They don't want to be doing that. They don't want to be doing that. But it says here that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must think carefully about his handling of Edison Cavani when Newcastle visit Old Trafford on Sunday. Okay, so they're playing on Sunday, not on Saturday, not on a Sunday. On a Saturday, because I know some of you guys have to go to church on Sunday. So you guys are quite lucky to catch a game on a Saturday. But still, the Sabbath is holy. The Sabbath is on Saturday. That's the proper Sabbath. But if you believe in a different religion or denomination, go ahead. I can respect that. But it says here that he was forced to stay at Carrington during his international break after Man United stopped him from linking up with the Uruguayan squad for the World Cup Qualifiers against Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador. Dude, I know Uruguay is not on Belgium's level, or on France level, or on, I ain't gonna say Portugal. Portugal's a decent side, but in terms of elite players in one team, right? Uruguay is not on that level, but I know they're good enough to beat Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador. All things considered, they are good enough to beat Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador. Yes, football is very unpredictable, but there are some things that are just a matter of fact, man. Some things are just a duh. So I don't think, again, I can understand his frustration because he wants to represent his country and make sure that his country passes the line of qualifying for the World Cup next year. But at the same time, Manchester United is saying, yo, I understand your frustration. I understand your retaliation. I understand your irritation. But at the same time, I want you to stay in this location so you don't contract COVID. You have other players in your international side that can qualify, basically. But my man is saying, yo, I understand that, but I still want to play. I want to make sure that my country goes to the World Cup. I want to make sure that, because this is probably my last World Cup. I know it will be his last World Cup, because he's 34 years old right now. You see me? So, yeah, man. So you have to understand his frustration, his myriad of frustration right there. Another piece of news we have right here is give me a second. Oh, I was talking about the World Cup qualifiers. I was watching a few matches. I wasn't watching the full matches, right? I was watching a few matches, and Germany trashed aside now, 6-0. I guess that's the opening stages of the Hassan Flick, the Flick's era of managing Germany. I think that's his name, Flick. Yeah, I would call him Boom Flick. You know, when you used to do Boom Flick when you're in prep school, like you would turn over and Boom Flick. Yeah, I'm gonna start calling Boom Flick. That's his coded way of saying his name is Flick, right? Matter of fact, when this dude is managing, bro, I don't know if this dude is related to the family of the Terminator or Darth Vader, man. But when his side wins a game, man, my man is like, my man doesn't show any sign of emotion, man. Like he's not satisfied. He's not satiated with the results, man. Like he wants more. Like he's pissed off on the bed. Like, bro, what's up with that, man? Like break a smile or two, man. You know, a smile is not going to hurt you. I mean, you know, you don't want to smile too much in today's age because they go look on you on the left hand side of things. And when I say the left hand side of things, I think you know what I mean by that. But man, break a smile one or two times, man. Show your players that you appreciate them, man. But this player, what's the next piece? Oh, I was talking about the World Cup qualifier. Yeah, Germany trashed aside 6-0. I think Poland is playing England today, so the clash between two elite European strikers is going to be very, very, very enlightful, you could say. Because I might want to watch that match, but considering that I have class again in 1 hour about 80 minutes, that is highly unlikely. But hey, you know, I could watch the highlights afterwards. But the World Cup qualifying matches, man. Hey, you guys know that I'm a Jamaican, man, and it pains me to say this, man. Jamaica hasn't been at the World Cup since 1998, and they're not they're not an occurrence country that goes to the World Cup. They're not an occurring country that goes to the World Cup. So to go to the World Cup and you're not a good side, but knowingly in your head that you know that you're going to get trashed at the World Cup, they don't care about that. But as long as you're representing America, not America, Jamaica, because I'm from Jamaica, as long as you're representing any country, for that matter, hold on, let me say this straight. Hope this doesn't fall on. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Yeah, when you're supporting your country, man, and I support Jamaica, man. If you're playing for a country that doesn't play on a regular basis in the World Cup, and your country gets green light to play to the World Cup, not because you have like in the hierarchy of the FA, but you have to win those games now. You have to do the hard work. You have to get down and dirty. You see me, you have to pull up your socks and get down and dirty and win them games on yourself. And like I can get the green light from the FA and say, okay, man, you are friends, so I'm gonna just push you into the World Cup. No, you have to do the dirty work now. But when you go to the World Cup, bro, that is a big moment, not for yourself, but for the country at large. You're going on you're the best stage in football that supersedes club football. Not on a high level, but I would say Champions League football right here, so, and the World Cup is right here, so, right? And you have Champions League is club football, but in terms of the league football is on here, so. Champions League right here, so, and World Cup up here, so. Personally, I'm going to watch the World Cup a lot. So to qualify for your side in the World Cup is very satisfying. And given what I just said, bro, you know, international sides, definitely Brazil, they got into their feelings, they got into their fifis and momos, and they have expressed their frustration by not allowing per se, but they have okay, this is the situation, because we have a few Brazilian players in our fold that not only plays for Brazil, but they're from Brazil. And it says here, Manchester United midfielder Fred banned from next 2 matches under FIFA rules. Given what I just said, Brazil, I think a few countries may co-sign with the approach from Brazil, but it says here that Brazilian Football Federation triggered FIFA rules to impose a 5-day ban on the Premier League sides who refuse to release players for the international duty this month. So they're doing this out of retaliation. This is their counter act, their counter to clubs not allowing their players to play for their own country. And Brazil, that is not necessarily known for their brains, but for their football ability. They're known for their brains in this situation, because they're saying, yo, if you're not releasing your players to represent our country, yes, we are the great Brazil that has won the World Cup 5 times. Yes, we used to have great players like your Peles, your Garrinchas, your Socrates, your Rivalinos, your Ronaldinhos, your Coutinhos, as if anybody would say that. But players that, you know, did good for their country, man. Ronaldo, your Rivaldo, your Ramiro, your Juninho, your Kakas, your Adrianos, your Robinhos, all of those, your Inos, whatever, right? Brazil's federation is basically saying, okay, if you want to play that game, I'm two can play that game. It takes 2 to tango. So if you're saying that you're not going to release your players to represent our country, the great Brazil, that's the best country in World Cup football, because again, we have the most World Cups right now. As I'm speaking, 5. I'm speaking as if I'm a Brazilian fan. I am anything but a Brazilian fan. But they're saying, yo, it takes 2 to tango. So I'm going to do this. I know there are some clubs in England that has a good amount of Brazilian players. So I am going to trigger the FIFA rules. Yeah, I'm going to tell them, say, yo, if the clubs are not sending the players down here to represent us, they're not going to play no games in the Premier League. They're not going to be playing no games in Premier League. So Fred is not going to play, as if that's going to be a big problem, because we have options, and plus Fred, nothing against Fred, but Fred, bro, we have players that can replace Fred. We know that we have players that we can replace Fred. So Fred is like a dime a dozen. Fred is not like a 1 in a million. So we're not really. I'm not saying we don't appreciate the services of Fred, but Fred, man, Fred is not no Zidane. Fred is not no Zidane. So he knows his place. But yeah, Brazil is basically demanding the Brazilian players of Premier League clubs to not play at least 2 games in not only in the Premier League but on a club level. So that's going to include a Champions League match come next week. So players like your Gabriel Jesus, like your Edisons, like your Allisons, like your Rafinhas, like your Firminos, like your Freds, like Andres Pereira, as if he plays for Brazil, right? As players that play for Brazil, man, that are in the Premier League, man. Persons are saying these players are not going to play for your club, man. They're not going to represent you if you don't want them to represent us. See, the football game is a reciprocal game. Mi casa, su casa. If you represent our country, because this is where you're from, you're born in Brazil now, you're Brazilian now. If you represent us, then you have no problem. You can, you're a player of so far and so forth club. Play for whatever club that you play for. But if you're saying to our players that you're not going to send them down to us, we're going to have big beef with that. We're going to have big beef with that. And we're going to retaliate in a manner, particularly if they're a key player of yours now. We're going to retaliate in a manner that is going to be at your detriment, at your expense. So if you're like if let's go to Man City, because I know Man City has a few Brazilian players, as does Manchester United, as does Liverpool, among other clubs. The reason why I say Man City is because Edison is a crucial goalkeeper. I think their second string goalkeeper is Scott Carson, and this dude has been playing football in Premier League since since Clinton was president of the United States or something. So we're talking like a long way. Long way. But anyway, if this dude is not playing a couple of games for Man City, they might win games, but they're going to leak in quite a good amount of goals. Because again, Carson is no Buffon. Carson is no Iker Casillas. Carson is no David De Gea. Well, given David De Gea's couple of years, since his World Cup 2018 campaign, he's not been the same keeper. So, who's to say? But yeah, City is going to be at a detriment. Gabriel Jesus, he might not be playing games. I know there's a few other Brazilian players that are missing right now. But yeah, so it's interesting, man. Brazil is got into their fifis, man. They're not taking no one stuff, man. They are saying, yo, if you don't want to allow our own players to play for us, then we're going to retaliate in a way that's going to be at some of your guys' expense. Particularly if they're like a key player in your side. But that's where I wanted to say, and I'm going to segue into something. I'm going to close the video podcast in about 15 minutes. I want to segue into a rivalry that is new that's not really new on the scene, but in terms of the 2000s, it's basically new. Because in terms of a rivalry for Manchester United, we think of Manchester United having a rival beef with Leeds United in the 90s and even before the 90s. We think of Arsenal having a rivalry beef with Arsenal. We think of Man United having a rivalry beef with Liverpool. And that those three, although they may not ring as loud as it used to in the 90s, they are still rival matches, right? See, Arsenal, bro, Arsenal is not, dude, nobody respects Arsenal as they did past tense back then, like that, but like in the 90s and early 2000s, Arsenal was a side to reconcile with, right? So persons don't, the rivalry doesn't ring as loud. It's not as fearsome as it was back in the 90s. With Leeds Leeds United and Man United had a rivalry. They still have it, but it's not as loud as it once was. With Liverpool, that is always a rival. We hate the Scousers. We literally hate the Scousers on the pitch. Persons have come out of bounds with it because there are fans that actually not only hate Man United, but they actually not only Scousers, but fans from Man United and Liverpool have actually been in tussle. Yeah, like try to jam one in the jaw. Yeah, that's how far this rivalry has brought. Yeah, that's what football does, man. When you support a side, and a side has beef with their side, and they become a rival, yeah, things can come to blow. But in the early 2000s, a rival emerged from the shackles of the cracks. You notice I didn't say Man City. No, I didn't say, well, I mean, Man United has always been a rivalry, but Man City, bro, when Man United was winning titles, bro, in the 90s, Man City was in League 2. They were in League 2. So, let's just not even mention them, right? They were in League 2. They were struggling in League 2. I wasn't alive to tell the tale, but I saw the details of the history. And based on history, because history doesn't lie now, history is factual. Let's not even go there. Man City doesn't have a strain to even come up near the triumph and the success of Man United, man. It's not even close. I mean, that's another discussion. But aside from Man City, another side came into the mix. Not Tottenham, but another side that became more significant in 2004. Jose Mourinho won the Champions League with Monaco in 2004 with Porto. And our owner, he's a Russian owner, he came to England and he bought a club in London. And this club in London was not well respected. I mean, they were always a decent side because they had players like, Zola, players of that ilk. But in terms of being as a top tier club, they were not as fearsome as like a Liverpool in the 90s or even before the 90s, as an Arsenal, as a Newcastle or even Newcastle. So Chelsea, they were a decent side, but starting with 2004, with the takeover of Roman Abramovich taking over Chelsea, putting money into the club, appointing Jose Mourinho, who was our top prospect because he just won the Champions League, and whenever you won the Champions League, definitely freshly, like like a couple days ago, you just won the Champions League, you're going to be a hot prospect, particularly if you were with the club the full season. It's not like if you came into the half of the season and you let decide the Champions League glory, you're going to be much of a prospect. But a few aside from Tuchel, because Tuchel has credibility, he has CV to his name. I'm not talking about that type of pedigree. I'm talking about a novice. So if you're a novice and just won the Champions League like what Chelsea did in 2012, you're not going to be much of a prospect because persons don't really know what you have won. You haven't won anything. You're on E right now. You're empty. You're empty as Tottenham's trophy cabinet, right? So you have no say-so or influence as a manager. But I guess you just won the Champions League, and that's a start. But Chelsea in 2004, this is where the Premier League was becoming more fearsome. In 2004, I think Arsenal won the league, unbeaten run. I think it was in 2002, 2000. I don't remember, but I believe they won the league in 2004. Arsenal, yeah. And ever since they haven't won it again, and they're not going to win it for now anyway. But we have Arsenal, Liverpool, who haven't won the Premier League. They are on E. You see me? They have no Champions. No. They have Champions League, but they haven't won in the Premier League, despite the emergence of the Premier League starting in the 90s. Although they're a top side, they have been trying to win the Premier League, but they haven't won the Premier League, right? But we have fearsome sides like Arsenal, Liverpool, of course, Manchester United, Newcastle in the early 2000s. So sides like that were very fearsome. But there was one side that was coming to grabs with the Premier League, and that was Chelsea. The significance of the Manchester United and the Chelsea rivalry, it goes way back. When Jose Mourinho came into the Premier League, this was where the Premier League was going to evolve for forever. Everybody knows that the Premier League was known for playing two strikers. 4-4-2. That was the typical formation to use in the era of the Premier League. Definitely in the 90s and the early 2000s was having a 4-4-2 system where one striker, depending on the statistics of the manager, one could drop, being a secondary striker, to link play from the midfield to the attack. And I missed my train of thought. Or the wingers could bump forward, one particular would go back, and one would drop back, or depending on the statistics. But the 4-4-2 was very dimensional. You could do anything with the 4-4-2. When you're attacking, when you're without the ball, when you're defending, when you're with the ball. That was the main MO of the Premier League era, having a two-striker formation, 4-4-2. A flat four, defenders, four midfielders, and four strikers. When Jose Mourinho came into the Premier League, although Arsene Wenger somewhat revolutionized the Premier League in his liking when he came with the fast, fluid football, the 1-2, the sexy football and the eye that was somewhat flashy with the bling bling, players moving into space. This was where the Premier League was evolving. And with Chelsea at the front four of this video podcast with Man United, when Jose Mourinho came, he started the 4-3-3. When the 4-3-3 came into the Premier League, this was not expected. Because again, the Premier League is known for having two strikers up top. Of course, they can have they can play the 4-3-3, but it wasn't the main reality of the Premier League. Most sides were not using this formation. So when Jose Mourinho came into the Premier League, this was a breath of fresh air to the Premier League. This formation, with the transfers made in the summer of 2004, this pushed Chelsea to their first Premier League trophy. Yeah, this pushed Chelsea to their first Premier League trophy. Jose Mourinho, of course, given that he's won the Champions League and the Euro League with Porto, he has had some credentials to his name, right? And when he came to the Premier League, it was the same. It wasn't any different. He won the Premier League in his first season, and I think they conceded at least 15 goals all season. 15 goals in all season. This was not a past the prime, pragmatic, really static, not a dynamic manager. This was a fresh from the vine Jose Mourinho. This was a young, arrogant manager from Portugal. I don't know if it's a Portuguese thing with players or managers being arrogant. I have to do my research on that. But Jose Mourinho, when he came to the Premier League, man, he was basically saying, "Yo, I'm not one of the bottles. I'm a special one, man. I'm not a part of the herd. I'm a different cookie." And that was shown in his first Premier League. Cause see, if you're talking all of this arrogant talk, what's known as trash talk, and you have no play to back it up, persons are going to see as a fraudulent. Persons are going to see as a fraudulent. Because the reason why Mourinho does what he does is because he has he has history to back up what he's saying. So when my man says, I've won 3 Premier League trophies or 4 Premier League trophies than the other 19 managers put together, that was not him being arrogant. That was him spitting facts, at the time at least. He was spitting facts. So when this dude came into the Premier League with Chelsea won the Premier League. Man United, I believe they finished, hold on, let me check. I believe they finished about second place or third place. Let me double check. Because that season was very renowned. That was based on Chelsea, because Chelsea played a different style of, that side, that season was very, man. They won the league with 95 points. Won the league with 95 points. This was Chelsea's first Premier League trophy. Talk about having a fresh start, making a name for yourself, having 95 points. Well, it's over 90 points. 95 points. That's quite a lot. That is quite a lot. Let me see the league table. Yes, so Man United actually finished third as I expected, and Arsenal finished second. And Everton finished fourth, Liverpool fifth, and Man City was in eighth as expected, and so forth and so forth. So that season, Chelsea, man, was getting down and dirty. They were all about it, man. This Chelsea was showing their ass, you could say. You could say. And Man United, given their dominance in the Premier League, that was kind of telling, because this opened a new kind of worms, because persons definitely in the 2005-2006 season, persons were saying Sir Alex Ferguson has not come to the grip of the new Premier League era. Because again, in the early 90s, football was evolving. Certain formations were not as effective as they are anymore. When he came with the 4-3-3, persons weren't expecting the effectiveness or the efficiency of the 4-3-3. Nobody was expecting that, bro. Nobody was expecting that. And when this came to the Premier League, persons tried to adapt to it. Because this is why some players that are fresh to some clubs do very well in their first season, because no one knows of their style of play or what they're capable of doing. This is me. And that's why you have the term the second season syndrome, because in the second season, persons, clubs, managers, and even players are going to have a sense of how you play like. So it's no surprise where some players that were playing very well in their first season at a club, in a new club or in a new league, play very well in their first season, but in their second season they were not so good. Is because the players have adapted to that player's style of play, or they have found them out. What's known as found them out. That's why the football game is an evolving game. You cannot be homeostatic. What's known as homeostasis, meaning you cannot stay at an even keel. The game is always evolving, right? Cannot stay at one place. So with that all being said, Chelsea in the 2004-2005, they came out with a large statement, man. You see me? It's not that they were doing poorly with Ranieri in the previous season, but my man, I don't know if it's a Russian thing, but Russians, man, they're all about that business, man. They're all about that business. Frank Lampard won Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year, FWA Player of the Year. That side was mostly dominated by Chelsea players. The only two Man United players there were Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville. So Man United didn't have the best season then. And persons expect Man United to win the Premier League. But in the following season, in 2005-2006, Person were saying, okay, this short dude from Portugal named Jose Mourinho. Yes, he won the Premier League in his first season. Chelsea won their first Premier League, is me. But I'm pretty sure that the great Sir Alex Ferguson is going to come back and bite back at Jose Mourinho in the back, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have a snag snitched with Jose Mourinho. So you would think, because in the following season, Chelsea was not any different. They actually got 91 points and they won the Premier League again. Man United made some improvements in terms of where they finished. They finished second place, and despite them winning second place, see, bro, you don't get in. I want to keep this under an hour, but plus I have a class in less than an hour. But see, when you have how do I explain this now? See, when you have an expectation, like for example in the Premier League, I win it again and again and again, persons are going to have this impression, what's known as impression formation of how you are as a manager. They're going to say, okay, this is a great manager that knows how to win the Premier League or win trophies. And there's going to come a point where that's not going to be the reality all the time. You're not going to be winning trophies. And because you're not going to be winning trophies all the time, there are going to be questions asked in the fan base. Like, person are going to say, wow, I didn't expect him to lose the Premier League like that. Like, what's up with that, man? What happened? Nothing happened. It's just that the game has gotten more fierce. Some person might say, yo, the game has changed, man. The game has gotten more fierce. It has become more combative, aggressive, and competitive. You see me? So you have to get on top of your A+ game, man. And in the second season when Chelsea won it, Man United fans were becoming more weary because they're saying, we didn't win the Premier League in 2000. They didn't win the Premier League in 2004, 2005, and they didn't win it in 2006. So this was a 3-year drought where United didn't win the Premier League. Again, Arsenal won it in 2003, 2004, Chelsea in 2004, 2005, and Chelsea again in 2005, 2006. So persons were asking questions in relation to the manager of Manchester United. This was the great veteran, commemorated yet celebrated Sir Alex Ferguson. Persons were saying, this old man from Scotland needs to be sacked. This person, yes, he's won us the treble. We didn't have any trouble with the treble that he won us in 1999, but at the same time, he needs to leave. We are appreciative of what he's done for us as Manchester United fans, but no, man, now is the time, man. You know, so like you have Arsene Wenger. You know, he's old, but he knows what he's doing. You know, he's doing his thing at Arsenal. He had the unbeaten season. You know, you have Mourinho at Chelsea. You have Rafa Benitez at Liverpool. You have what's that? Sir Bobby. I'm forgetting his name. He used to manage Newcastle. Rest in peace, by the way. But yeah, man, you have these managers, man, and they know what they're doing at their respective clubs. But this dude at Man United, man, he needs to go, man. He needs to go. He needs to ship out. We need fresh blood. We need fresh blood. We haven't won the Premier League for 3 seasons, brother. For 3 seasons. We are Manchester United. This old man, yes, he's a sir, and I respect the fact that he has his title. Is me, he's Sir Alex Ferguson, but man, Sir Alex Ferguson needs to leave as manager, respectively now, but he needs to be sacked. Respectively, but he needs to be sacked. We need to win the Premier League. Personally, we're getting weary of the way how Man United was playing on the pitch, because at the same time, you have to remember that Ruud van Nistelrooy was the main man at United in terms of the goal scoring. Yes, we had a young Wayne Rooney. Yes, we had a young Cristiano Ronaldo, who is back at Manchester United. It's funny how I said those 2 names because I mentioned those 2 names earlier. But yeah, the side was young. We had very good players, Giggsy, Scholesy, Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Silvestri, Roy Keane. No, I think Roy Keane left. Yeah, I think he left in 2005. So my man had no say so in this. My man was excused and thing. We had a young Darren Fletcher. We had young players, but we were not doing enough, and we didn't win the Premier League for 3 seasons. And because of the sell-off play of Chelsea, the 4-3-3, this was where Sir Alex Ferguson knew he had to change house. He knew he had to change his style of play. He had to change the way how he was going about his sides. He knew that the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-4-2 was dying a slow, steep death in terms of the Premier League. Again, the game is evolving, man. Not saying that you can still use a 4-4-2, but the efficiency of the 4-4-2 is not going to be as sharp as it was back then, right? Sir Alex Ferguson knew that Ruud van Nistelrooy could not be the main man again. Given his injuries, given that his goals, again, Ruud van Nistelrooy was still getting the goals, but for Man United, but in terms of winning the league, man, in terms of a different style of play, Sir Alex Ferguson knew that some players had to leave just for business. Not because he hated those players, not because those players were not good, but in terms of the style of play itself. Ruud van Nistelrooy is a striker that thrives on goals when he's playing as the lone striker. Yes, we're playing a two-striker, but in terms of the two-striker, Rooney was dropping. He was the one that dropped. Van Nistelrooy was the main man up top. Whoever was playing with Van Nistelrooy, he was the second fiddler. He had to drop, whether it was Louis Saha, whether it was who else was playing as a striker at the time. Man, I'm getting kind of old, as if I was watching football at that time, right? But anybody who was playing with Ruud van Nistelrooy up top, they knew that Ruud van Nistelrooy was going to be the main man to get the goals. They knew they had to compromise and play as second fiddler or second stringer to Ruud van Nistelrooy in that 4-2-4-2 system as a striker. So when Sir Alex Ferguson had to change his game, man. Again, Man United had to give Chelsea a guard of honor at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea trashed United at the bridge 3-0. Trashed Chelsea. No, Chelsea trashed. Well, I mean, Chelsea doesn't trash Chelsea, right? Chelsea trashed United 3-0 at the bridge. This was against a prime at the time Sir Alex Ferguson. Jose Mourinho trashed Sir Alex Ferguson. This was the prime time of the Premier League era. This was a rival match. This was a rival that was up in arms. Is me. Wish I could go longer, man. But I have to go wrap up, man, because I know some of you guys enjoying this. But Sir Alex Ferguson knew he had to change house, man. He had to sell Ruud van Nistelrooy. He had to get some fresh blood, whether it's from the academy or from elsewhere. He got Michael Carrick from Tottenham. He gave Wayne Rooney the number 10. And the style of play that Sir Alex Ferguson was trying to portray in the 06-07 season was more fluid, more attacking. It was more intricate in terms of the front three. Again, Rooney, Saha was a focal figure. Man, I don't remember the main striker who played in 06-07. But yeah, Rooney actually got a lot of goals that season in 06-07. I remember, because I know in 07 that FIFA is everything, and it rates players objectively. But Rooney got a high average in 07, man, like probably 92 average, and this was like a 20-year-old Wayne Rooney. But that's a different story. But the formation, the self-play to suit the formation had to change for the better. Sir Alex Ferguson was getting domed by Jose Mourinho, who was new to the Premier League. And this created beef between the Chelsea fans and United, and Chelsea and Man United. How could you make a manager just come into the Premier League like that and won the Premier League consecutively twice? So Alex Ferguson knew that if he didn't change up house, he would get the sack. Persons were saying that he needed to get the sack. Even in 05, persons were saying that he needed to get the sack. But definitely in 06, person that just raised up the ante, man. Persons were saying this dude needs to go. And I understand what he's done for United. He's won us the treble. Again, it's no trouble because he won the treble. But at the same particular time, you have to move on. It's just business. Don't take it personal. It's just business. Just move on. Leave Man United alone. I mean, you can watch the games. You can visit and thing. That's if you're not managing another side. But at the same time, we need another manager, man. We need fresh blood. We need someone that's young, enthusiastic, real in it. Someone that is passionate. Because Jose Mourinho was very passionate. Matter of fact, when he won at Old Trafford with Porto, he knocked out United at Old Trafford. This dude go sprint down the corner line as if he was doing an Adebayor celebration against Arsenal. That's what he did. He punched the air and celebrated with his players at the corner, at the byline, the corner line, at Old Trafford. And he domed Sir Alex Ferguson when he came to the Premier League. Twice in the first 2 seasons he was at the Premier League. So wrapping up. Oh, I'm at 56 minutes. Wrapping up. Ever since 2006, Man United got their groove. They won the Premier League in 06-07, despite the beef with Rooney and Ronaldo at the World Cup in 06. That was crushed because Sir Alex Ferguson brought closure to that beef. He kept the services of CR7 because CR7 was linked to Real Madrid. Persons thought that CR7 was linked to Real Madrid in 08. No, that started with 06. 2006. When they won the Premier League, that was going to stay. The Premier League was going to stay in Manchester United, in Manchester, and mostly Manchester United, because City wasn't even going to get us in for the Premier League, at least not for any time now at the time. So since 06 to 2009, they won the Premier League 3 times. From 06-07 they won it. 07-08 they won it. 08-09 they won it 3 times, putting a high five in Chelsea's face, splashing a couple of eggs in Chelsea's face. Chelsea were like, okay, and they won the Premier League back in 09-10. So it was a rivalry match. This was the new rivalry in the Premier League in regarding to Chelsea and Manchester United. Even in the Champions League, Chelsea was going about it with Manchester United and Chelsea. But I just mix up myself. Even in the Champions League, Manchester United played Chelsea in the Champions League final. And even in 08-09, Chelsea was supposed to play Man United in the final, but some corrupt club named Barcelona go knock them out controversially, or based on controversy. Listen to me. So the rivalry was very tense. The beef was very tense between United and Chelsea. The style of play had to change. The style of play was very intricate. Everybody enjoyed the football. This type of football was caught a lot of persons off guard. But this was a football game that United kept up. Because again, the front is not the front three stopped in 07-08 or 08 or 09. It continued to 08-09 because CR7 left and Tevez left in 2009. Tevez left to go to Manchester City on a permanent deal. I remember that we had him on loan from West Ham, and CR7 went to Real Madrid on a permanent deal, which at the time was the most transfer deal of any player at the time of all football history. So with that being said, after all of that, the rivalry with Manchester United and Chelsea, it was very tense, man. A lot of times we won definitely at Old Trafford, but there are a few times when we went to the bridge, we're actually caught off because we don't have the best record at going to the bridge. Chelsea has actually dominated. Well, you have to dominate at your own house, right? You have to dominate in your own backyard. They have dominated United at their own playground. So they didn't give United any time to mess around. They actually beat them a good amount of times at the bridge. But Old Trafford, the game is on, baby. It was an ongoing tussling match. It was an ongoing tussling match. Man, I wish I could go on longer, but I have a class in 39 minutes, man. Hope you guys enjoying this video podcast. But to close this video podcast, man, after 2000, after Rooney, not Rooney, because Rooney didn't leave at the time. Ronaldo left and Tevez left to City. Rooney became the main man at Man United. He was the Rooney, man. Without getting anything, man. Rooney, although he was a striker at United, it didn't take until 2009, 2010 to Rooney to be playing as the main striker itself, right? Rooney was in contention with Drogba for the Golden Boot, and I believe that if Rooney didn't get the injuries that he did get, Rooney would have won that Golden Boot. You see me, because Rooney could pass and he could shoot. He was a very clinical striker. There was a statement that was made that Rooney was the best target man at 5'9". What you doing being the best target man at 9 foot? At 9 foot. Imagine being at 9 foot at 5'9". I don't ever think Rooney wasn't a target man, but in terms of the headers that he was scoring, him and Valencia had a very good link up. But I digress. The Chelsea and Man United rivalry was very fearsome in the late 2000s. From the early mid, like when I'm saying the early mid, I'm talking about not necessarily the middle, like that's 2005, but I'm talking about 2004 start going up to 2010, 2011. Yeah, that rivalry was very intense and very enjoying, because you don't know what could have come in those matches, man. Yes, the rivalry with Liverpool and Arsenal, not decent, but the Chelsea was very intense, because against Arsenal wasn't on the biggest stage in the Champions League. Liverpool up after 2007, they were not really big in the Champions League as was Chelsea after 2007. So this was a very good encounter with Manchester United and Chelsea. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap the curtains on this video podcast. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. Again, I'll be coming out with another video podcast at the end of the week. At the end of the week on Friday. Matter of fact, I might actually do it tomorrow, because I don't want the preview to just be done a day before the game itself. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a brief preview, given that this video is kind of lengthy. A brief preview of Man United against Newcastle United. Like and subscribe to the channel. Click that post notification bell for notifications, and I'll show you guys in the next video podcast come tomorrow. Peace.